Thinking of Playing, Iron Cross, Man-to-Man Combat on the East Front, 1941-1942. The steps of the support fire phase. First announce attack, then determine line of sight, then attempt observation if using the optional rule, proficiency checks to fire, total and modify firepower, determine number of dice required, roll dice, and apply results. Okay, so still the German player turn, still the support fire phase. I'm going to use these two riflemen forward here in the house there, the building, to fire at this stack right here. And some factors are identical to the previous support fire example, so now we'll see the impact of some very specific differences. Okay, so announce attack. These two are attacking this hex. I do believe AP firepower is against a hex. So that's announcing attack, determine line of sight. Now, what I'm going to do, and this is important, is going from center hex to center hex, I'm actually clipping that tree there. And specifically, it's so close that I'm just going to call it as clipping the tree. So we have a clear line of sight except one tree intervening. One tree. So, line of sight. While I'm talking about it, the relevant rule is this. When determining line of sight, if both hexes are on the same elevation, line of sight is blocked if the line passes through hexes containing more than 3 tree symbols, AFV units, or rec markers in any combination. Okay, that's what's relevant. So passing through just one tree does not block line of sight. All right, so then we have okay, attempt observation. We do need to attempt observation. Okay, attempt observation. Just one attempt is made, so one soldier in this hex can attempt to observe that target hex. You could use the other soldier to attempt an observation of another hex, but you can't do more than one observation attempt of a hex. Okay, what is relevant here? First of all, the terrain of the target hex is clear with just one tree, but I think that's just considered clear. Except it is going to be a modifier, but we start with clear. So that is, starting with clear is, let's put it there like that, it's 10. 10 is, 10 or less is what we need to roll to observe. All right, these are the modifiers that apply for it. So it's 14 hexes from observer to target hex. So that's +2, because that's +1 per 5 hexes beyond the initial 5. So that's +2. Then we have a plus another 1 for the one tree along the line of sight. Then it's plus another 1 for the one tree that is in the hex. There. Okay. They're not in down posture, so that doesn't apply. However, if the observing unit moved, no, the observing unit did not move. We go to modifiers favoring the observer. If the target hex was successfully observed in previous, no. I'm wondering, need to mark that, I think. But anyways, if the target hex is 2 or more levels, no. Okay, here it is. If any unit in the target hex moved within the last 3 phases. This is where I believe, see, I had move markers. I didn't record this, but I had move markers on all of these stacks that moved the last turn, the Russian player turn, and I removed all the markers at the end of the player turn, just thinking that that was a logical thing to do. The rules don't say anything about using, I mean, it does mention using markers in general. It doesn't give any specific rules for using markers. Now I see why you'd want to leave them on there, to remind you, yes, they moved last turn. So The rule, though, is the modifier is if any unit in the target hex moved within the last 3 phases. Ooh, and that would be phases. How do you count phases? This is the support fire phase. Go back 1 for the morale phase. No. Oh, assault or moving fire phase. That is very interesting. Last 3 phases. Oh, it says exclude the morale phase. That's actually an exception. So to go backwards, it's the support fire phase, skip the morale phase, free up down state unit changes, not a phase now I see. So we go to assault phase, moving fire phase. I'm sorry. Don't count support fire phase because this is the support fire phase. So we're going all the way back to the defensive fire phase. They did not... Well, that's interesting. When would you ever... I'm not sure when you would ever incur this unless you're talking about moving during the assault phase. Huh. In any case, I guess that doesn't count because they moved in the previous movement phase, which is multiple phases before. Okay. Huh. All right. I don't think anything else advantages the observer. No, I don't think so. So it's +4. So that's going to make it quite a bit harder for them to observe. So, yeah, they do not observe 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is well above the 10 needed to observe. So let's take a look at this. Scale. Scale is 10 meters per hex. So we said it was 14 hexes from observer to target hex. That's 140 meters. Not really very far, but under combat conditions... Oh, there are 3 soldiers in there. All right. Would that have been a modifier? Trying to remember. No, it's 4 more men. Almost. I guess that's all right. By those probabilities, these are not empty clear hexes. So I assume that there's a lot of different stuff here. Undulations in the ground, blah, 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 blah. Maybe there are some bushes around these trees. So, what was the probability? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6. So rolling a 6 or less on 2 6-sided dice. Actually, that's not... That doesn't seem very far off. Okay. So, oh, and I think that that you go ahead and mark them as fired, even though they did not successfully observe. Oh, wait a minute. I take that back. I think they can still fire at half firepower, which is going to make it, well, wow, that's going to be really 2, 4, 2. That's just really... How do you deal with super low probability shots like that? Because I think this is going to be 3, yeah, -1 for range attenuation, down to 2. But you put them together, 2 + 2 is 4. But then I think you're going to have that for unobserved, which is 2. Does that mean it's... Huh. How do you deal with that? Okay, I'm actually going to play this through to its logical conclusion, I think. Even though I can't say that this is what was originally intended. Okay, so yeah, if the target hex is not observed, is that how the wording is? Yeah, whatever the wording is, they didn't observe the targets, so they're going to fire at the hex anyways. It says the final firepower is halved. So again, range attenuation down to a total firepower of 4. That's going to be halved to 2. So this is how I'm going to do it. 2 is pinned. Have that round up is 1, which is suppressed, but 1 halved rounded up is also 1, which is eliminated. So again, I'm going to play this to the logical conclusion that the 1 for eliminated supersedes the 1 that's for suppressed, and so I think that the results are on one 6-sided die. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's correct. AP, oh man, the AP modifier is actually reduced for 1 because of that tree in the way. So would that have 1, 2, 1? So does that mean, or does the high, I think this is even more a ridiculous exercise. -1 per tree symbol in hex and along. Oh, it's in hex and along the line of sight. But that's not a. Oh, but that's not a woods hex. Never mind. Never mind. Maybe that doesn't apply. Because that's neither of these are a woods hex because they only have 1 tree in. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to. What I was saying. So forget, maybe that was just all about observation and woods hexes. I factored in observation and these are not woods hexes. So I'm going to go back. So if it's 2 for pinned, is it 1? Which one supersedes which, right? Does suppress supersede eliminated, or does eliminate? Well, I would think eliminate, because you're going in order, right? You're checking for pinned, then you're checking for suppressed, then you're checking for eliminated, and so you would wind. Well, I guess I should. I guess I'll just play it that way. And there are 3 targets there, so I'm going to go after each one, and I get a 2. So the first unit is actually pinned. Put up. I get a 1. So does that mean this second soldier is eliminated? I wonder what. And 6, nothing. I wonder if this is handled in errata somewhere. Well, the very first time going through this type of example, I'm just going to go, oh, and they also go down automatically. And let me see,